about some integration that could be awesome to have inside of GitLab. For example, Penpot, was it? Yeah.
Penpot, yeah.
Yeah, Penpot to manage designs and stuff like that. Other than
As
that,
an open source alternative to Figma, correct me if I'm speaking out of turn there, Andrew.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know why. Oh, we were talking about access to Figma, weren't we? That was it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just an open source, self-hosted alternative to Figma that I think would be really cool to embed into GitLab. Similar to what Michael was saying, there's a code IDE in there. Why not embed a design, in quotes, IDE as well?
Absolutely.
Well, other than that, should we have a look at the time tracking report? So let me share my screen. Oh, yeah. Come on. Okay. So you can all see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is totally based on URMR. It's actually URMRly. I just tweaked a little bit the UI up at the top, and we now have pagination.
Beautiful.
Yes. And one of the things that I don't understand what's going on is, do you see for example, for each issuable, so issue or merge request, I also show the state.
Nice touch, yeah.
And the weird issue is that the state doesn't change when I change page.
So you mean the closed one at the top remains? Okay.
And if we go to have a look at the data, this is the first GraphQL page, and the first issue is closed, so we see the closed label. If we go to the next page, this, where is it? Now this should be opened, but we still see the closed badge. I think it's like if Vue is caching the data in some sort of way and not updating the badge.
Can you look at Vue dev tools to see if like where the data is right and where it's wrong?
Yes. Good point. I didn't think about this.
Nice. That's what we're here for.
Status box, yes. Initial state opened. Computed closed.
Is there there's a computed
badge class issue closed. Do you want me to zoom in?
Not especially. So props versus status. So I guess it's a status box. I'm going to open the status box on my machine just to try and understand.
Yeah, I'll do that as well so that everyone can see.
So
status box.
So it passes in initial state and
oh, maybe I'm just passing in the initial state. Status box, where is it? It's in here. Oh, yeah, that's the initial state. Good point.
But that's all you can pass in, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We don't have any other prop.
Yeah. So I don't know why it's called initial state. So if not this.iid, right, is an IID being injected into it? Can you see that in View Dev Tools?
I don't think that's being injected because I'm not passing it. No, it's not.
Okay. So it should, data should return. This initial state.
Fetch state. And the state, is it called the created? Update status.
I can't even see where state. Oh, const badge state is view.observable state updated status. I've never seen this weird kind of const for badge state.
Oh, view observable.
What's this?
Oh, did I use something too complicated?
Yeah, why? There's a big Y around. So this was 6 months ago. I'm going to see if I can find an MR or something to understand.
I wonder if what happens if I. Oh, but I'm not passing in the IID, so that's not. Where is it using the IID?
Yeah, I think you're thinking the same thing as me, that you could potentially
I'm
pass one in.
Yes, and that's going to watch the state. But watching the state is kind of a waste because I'm passing in the state.
Yeah, I don't really know what it is. What's it watch? I don't. Yeah, I just don't really understand. So there's a state and an update status. So
Yeah,
what's update status used for? I just don't know why it's got all this complexity in it.
Yep.
Yeah, what's it do?
Update issuable state badge style. Update the state badge style for issue MR and epics.
I don't know if can you even provide. I know you can provide from. Yeah, you can, can't you? So QJS props.
There's a feature flag mix in, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that's useful.
Yeah. I don't think you would be able to use the provide.
Oh, there's a fetch state. And where is this called? Oh, on update status. And update status, when is it called? Oh, it's exported. So someone is calling this.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's
MR widget store probably.
That's used in here, open state. There's a new function. Why is this so complicated? This has a ton of logic that's totally necessary to me.
Yeah, agreed. But if there was another component without all that in it,
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
there'd be quite a lot of duplication at the same time, wouldn't there?
I was going to say, is the complexity to support GraphQL not observers, subscriptions?
Yes,
I don't
but
know.
this is not using the
subscription.
Yeah.
Is it? So I was thinking more like, is it groundwork to support that?
I don't think so, because subscriptions is something I remember talking about this with Natalia, and handling subscriptions is kind of a nightmare on the infrastructure standpoint. Because for example, issues and the MARs are two of the tables that are used the most and changed most frequently. So having subscriptions for those would be really...
Yeah. So I got lucky when I implemented subscriptions as part of CRM. I just did it for issue contacts, so it's quite a sort of, a small piece.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand. So it's like these aren't getting kind of destroyed and recreated properly, sort of thing, right?
Yes.
So they're retaining their old values.
Yes.
So when you do the pagination, I'm just trying to think of a boring solution. Can you show us the code, like the click handler for the pagination, or is it all sort of as an integrated component that you don't?
That would be nice if it was, but no, it's not.
Okay.
So basically, when you click page, and this is another thing that I need to have a better look into, because on how it's now, the reload is called even when you update fields.
Could you try a little hacky workaround just for a moment? Bear with me. So in this component, add a new data property, or is there already one in here? Is there one called loading or busy or something like that?
Busy, no. Yes, I do have is loading, is initial loading, and is loading more items.
Can you, in the so where you display the badges, where you're rendering that view component in the template?
And I do have an is loading computed property to change the table over to a spin.
Cool. So that's interesting. So what does that?
Let me this.
Just have a look. So scroll down to the GL table light stuff.
Yeah, just wait a second. I'm going to.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
That would be easier.
Yeah. If it doesn't explode.
Good point.
So GL table light. So you've already got v if not is loading. So in my mind, that status box component should be completely destroyed.
Yeah.
When it's loading and completely created from scratch. So that is interesting. I wonder if it's to do with the reactivity. Like, there's no cycle. I forget what they call it, but in some of the specs we do a wait for promises or await next tick or something like that because there's no kind of tick. It's not being destroyed and recreated.
Well, to be honest, I saw how they do it on the issues header, on the issuable header, and they use a plain GL badge.
So you think maybe just go make it old school?
Yes. I think that could be the best way forward, because using the status box is going to introduce a lot of unnecessary things.
Yeah. Could do with some documentation, like it almost as if it's a GitLab UI component. You could do with some sort of documentation on the what and why, and
yeah,
I'm assuming there isn't any. Issuable status badge.
Configuration. Yeah, I try to use the GL badge.
But it's definitely worth creating an issue off the back of it to kind of have the conversation to understand a bit more.
You mean on the status box?
Yeah, just to sort of say, try to use it for something simple.
Okay.
And was having trouble. Like, should it be possible to?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, yeah, that's definitely okay.
Obviously, follow up, but
yeah, well, I'm not going to remove this one, otherwise I'm going to forget.
Quite a lot of duplication, isn't it? If we're using this GL badge in a whole bunch of places.
To be honest, I don't know on how many places we're using it, because we have the issuable header component. So I guess that's shared between issues, MRs, and maybe even work items. Don't know about those. Oh yeah, show work item type icon. So I'm pretty sure they are. But I do need to work out how they compute the badge variant and all that stuff. Travel state. So we have the variant.
But again, this is where it suddenly starts to not be the nice solution, if you know what I mean. If you're having to copy all this kind of logic, but I guess if it fixes it for now.
Yeah, if it works, it works. Then we can move on to maybe create a more simple component just to show the badge.
Or maybe it's as easy as it needs a prop that we can pass that sort of avoids.
Oh, status icon. That's a prop.
Because can we?
Oh, because the icon.
Can we pass? With provide and inject, I can't remember how. Like, we can't inject from here, can we?
No, we should inject from the component. Should provide from the
Sorry, yeah, we can't, but we can't provide like in here, right? We need to do it sort of at the top level, or
I think so. Yeah. Status icon. Well, let's do it this way.
so I'm just wondering if you could just why don't you try adding a prop to that component?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be much quicker, wouldn't it? Just add a prop, something like I don't know, always refresh, or you know, I don't know what you want
to. Let's see how initial state is used.
Because it's this if that says if there's not an issuable ID, then just return the initial state. That's the problem. So I feel like we need to add another condition to sort of say if don't cache state or always refresh or something like that. If that set's true, then continue.
Yeah.
So it's like if not this the ID and not this to always refresh or something like that. Yeah.
I wonder. But I'm not passing in an ID. So they should always return the initial state. And that's the problem.
Yeah, but the initial state is being cached. I think that's the problem.
Where?
Oh, no, maybe it's not.
It's only used in here.
If not. Oh, yeah. So what this returns is almost irrelevant because it's just. I'm even more confused now. Yeah, we're not setting badge.state, are we?
No.
So we don't want it to return at that point. We want it to continue. So let's just comment out that line for now and see if that fixes
it. If we do this, okay, that's going to save the badge state, and the badge state is up here. What I don't understand is how this is using the badge state. It's declared outside of the component. It's like global.
Yeah. I'm not viewy enough to. I'll just see if the cavalry's around. Probably a bit cheeky, but.
To be honest, looking at this code, I'm not providing the IID, so it should always return the initial state, and I'm changing that prop from the other component.
What's that, sorry?
Since I'm not providing the IID, it's always returning initial state, and I'm changing the initial state.
But when you say it's returning it, this is data. It's not returning it to where you need it to be returned to. You need the badge state to be set, not like this return isn't really going to do anything, or is it? Now I'm getting
this is returning the data, so that down here, I guess, where is it? Badge class. Badge class, it's using this dot state.
All right.
Yeah, it's using the state, so it's coming from my initial state if I don't use the IID.
Oh, okay.
This is confusing.
My entry is too fast.
If I'm not providing the update status, or if update status is not already set, let me see if it's passing through here. that's a new thing.
Someone's joining who will definitely know the answer. Hopefully.
It's not stopping there, so it's come on.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, talk about the cavalry.
Exactly.
Hiya.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
We're confused by view.observable might be the problem, or it might be something else. We have some weird cachy nonsense going on. Marco, please explain.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm going to show now. So basically, this is a table that's fetching data using a smart query, and I am creating for each row. Basically, I'm showing the status of the issuable. The thing is that when I change page, the data is fetched correctly because I see that this issuable has the open state, but it's still showing the previous badge. It's like it's caching the component or something. We had a
Wow.
look.
So badges are the same. Titles are changing, but badges the same all the time, right?
Yeah, the badge, yes.
Wow. Weird. Okay.
I think you'll immediately know when you see the component, but it's blowing our minds. We don't really understand what it's trying to do or how it's doing it.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is how I am creating the badge inside of the table. I just have a template for the style, showing the link for the issuable, and then I'm creating this status box component, passing in the initial state.
Mm-hmm.
On the status box component, there's this weird stuff going on. Basically, I think this component behaves in two different ways based on the data that's passed in. So we have the initial state prop, and it also supports some data to fetch the status of the issuable based on the IID.
Mm-hmm.
And inside of this, the data function, if we don't pass the IID, this should always return initial state. And I'm changing that prop.
And it is returning always the initial state. The data is not recalculated when you change the prop.
Oh.
And it shouldn't. It's expected behavior from you. Data is assigned when component is created, and it will never ever react to any prop changes you're making. So if initial state initially was null, for example, and you change it in the parent component to something else like hello world, the prop will change, the data will not. If you need to react to the prop change, there are two ways. Normal, good way, I would probably recommend, but it depends on whether we change badge state somewhere from this component. So two ways. First, if you're not changing the badge state from this component, I would recommend having a computed property that returns whatever you want, because computed will react to the prop change. It reacts to any change of the reactive dependency. Second part, if by any chance you're changing badge state from the status box, so you cannot move it to the computed because this way you cannot change badge state from the component, then you need to set up a watcher that will check the initial state and issuable type. I mean, it's weird. Initial state should only be the initial state, right? It should never change. It's like, I'm just judging by the name. By the name, it tells me that it never changes in the parent component, but I think it is. And this is the problem.
Yes. So that's, I think, probably my next question. So could you go back to the parent where you've got the GL table, Marco?
Yes.
Because my understanding was that in this GL table, I think it's up a little bit higher in the definition. We've got a VF. Now, again, this is probably to do with I don't know, timing or whatever you want to call it. But when you click the next button, from what I understand, is loading gets set to true, which I thought would completely destroy the table.
Yes.
And then when the next page, then the data comes back, it would completely redraw the table.
But I haven't seen the loading state when you changed the page.
It's very fast.
Oh, okay.
Set your Chrome to be like slow 3G or something.
Yeah, you're right. Let me.
I'll really laugh if this fixes it.
Let me find the right place to do it.
On network, I think it is.
Yes. And where is it? Here.
Is this Chrome?
Yeah, it's head.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Slow 3G.
Yes. Oh.
So
it didn't look like it actually did the loading state, did it?
Yeah, I didn't see the loading state because there is, loading is happening probably, but it's not showing up because we don't have the skeleton or any indicator of the loading state.
But it's supposed to hide the table entirely, isn't it? So it looks like there's a little bug there.
I mean, this can be fixed separately. It's not the problem.
I just thought this would actually fix the other problem anyway. But I guess
actually it used
it's
to
not
work.
Changing, right? Wait.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not changing, right? It's not changing for some reason because so it's either report loading makes sense and initial loading. So it looks like for some reason its loading flag is not changing. Would you mind just putting true here, just for debugging reasons, for a little moment and commenting anything else?
Yep.
So we will see if we have any visual effect. Just the fastest way.
True.
Recompiling, I guess, or it's just not showing up.
No, it's still on.
Yeah. See, there is loading state right now.
Okay, good.
Okay.
It means that Lee's assumption is correct, and it should work when loading state actually works. But your loading is always false.
Yes. And I think that's...
Is loading more items. The problem is loading more items.
Yes, I'm never setting that to true.
So should you, silly question, but should you need to, like with the query.loading, could you not just remove that this is initial loading?
Yeah.
From...
I think this should work.
But yeah, it will set loading to true whenever you either fetch the... you have paginated data, not an initial, not an infinite scroll. So it makes sense to only use loading. If it were infinite scroll, yeah, I would agree that we need additional flags.
Oh, okay. I see. Are you suggesting that Marco copied and pasted it from somewhere?
Refresh the page because currently the data is cached. Yeah.
No, I did not copy and paste from one single source. It was multiple sources, and that's why.
You're never guaranteed to be safe even with one source. So there is loading state. Now, let's experiment. Go back to the first page, right? Everything good. Now, try to go to the second page.
Okay.
Right now. See?
Because here is the problem cached now, right?
Because it's cached now and its loading never ever changes.
Yeah.
So I would recommend not to rely on the component because right now you will make it work even. You will make it work with loading or any other way, and then some developer comes and just changes the flag, and this component is never remounted, and it fails. So it's not foolproof.
Yeah.
So what we can change, though, let's go to our status box component.
Yes.
And let's see, could you please search for the badge state? Let's see. Oh, I see it's modified. It's modified. Why do we modify it on created? It's a bit weird because you are setting badge state in data, and after this, you immediately modify it in the created hook.
This is nice because badge state is actually exported and is like global variable.
Why do we expose it as global variable?
You're asking to the wrong people.
Ah, okay, that's Phil. Are we streaming this call?
We are.
Okay, fine. Then I won't comment on this, but okay, that's fair point. In this particular case, we need to set up a watcher that will watch the props and will update it the same way we do in the data. So let's create a watcher. I think we don't have watchers in this component. It will be after, I think it's after before destroy, before methods. Otherwise, the linter will yell at you.
Yeah, probably.
Watch. It's called watch.
Okay.
Watcher. It's just an
okay.
watch. It's just an object. Okay. So here we will have two functions. One of them is initial state, right? It's called initial state, I guess. That you have. It still complains. Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
So
initial state.
And it's a function.
Okay.
Leave it empty for now. What was the name of the second prop we have?
Issuable type.
Issuable type. Let's see. Do we have it? I don't think we need to track issuable type. I don't see that badge state depends on it in any way.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's only badge class. So we can leave this. And in the initial state, let's copy paste the calculation we have in data. Just copy paste it for now so we don't miss anything. Let's put it here for now. And good, we don't need to return anything. So initial state as a watcher accepts two arguments, new value and old value. You can call it new value and old value. For now, let's just keep them. And let's see, return state, initial state. So I think the first part we can remove. The first part is if this IID, because again, we will, oh wait, it's return state, initial state. So, holy crap. This means that we return different set of data depending on different, okay, I got this. Could you please switch back to the browser and show me the data in the view? Do you have view dev tools? You have view dev tools, I see.
Yes, let me fit. I lost it.
It's fine.
Where did
it's detected? Yeah, here it is. So let's select the status box component. Yep, and let's see what's in the data. Apollo data. Oh, so it's always state property, I assume. Okay, good. Let's switch back.
Okay.
So in this particular case, we, instead of returning, we will write if not this IID.
Okay.
So, and you remove return statement completely. And you say this state is equal to whatever we were returning. Let's see what is in data.
Should be new value, I guess.
It's initial state. Yes, new value.
Okay.
Awesome. Now we do the same with the second part. So if this initial state, no, not this initial state, but if new value.
Yeah.
And badge state, this will leave, and badge state is equal to new value.
Yes. And
we don't return anything because watcher doesn't react. So now we can wrap. Oh, wait. Leave old value. Let's make our watcher a little bit more optimal.
Okay.
So let's create a root level if that says if new value is not equal old value, right? And move everything we have in. Oh, we can just do an early return.
Yeah, I would probably
if it's equal. Then we replace not equal with equal.
Yeah.
Yep, and we say early return. So if it's the same value, we like, okay, fine, because when we change our badge state, it will trigger the render of every component that depends on the badge state. It's micro optimization, what we're doing now, but it's still better to not trigger the watcher. I don't like watchers for this particular reason. You have full control over them. So I assume this should help, but let's test.
Let's see.
Should we set the loading state to always be false or something like that as well in a minute? Just to...
I mean, we will have cache data, so we just need to go to the next page, to the previous page. Yes, then go to the previous page, the loading state. It's fine right now, back and back again, because currently we have different after. So now to the second page, please. Yeah, it works.
Oh, yeah, it works.
It works.
Okay. Oh, the funny part.
So you know what this means, though, Marco?
That I have to run the brightest specs for the status
Yes,
bar.
you do.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem is the way the component is structured, especially using external reactive thing. It's questionable, I would say. That's why it creates so many problems with reacting to initial state. Yeah. I mean, I use ViewObservable in one place in the code base, but we were doing this before we introduced subscriptions to actually show that issue is confidential. Whenever you run the quick action, we update the sidebar. It was the only way to join two different applications. Here, I think it's used to replace Vuex, I think. I just used it as a global one. But I mean, at least it works now. It's not even huge of a hack that we introduced just now. And we also debugged the loading state, which is good.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know. Is this okay to use the status box more than once on the page? Because bad state is global.
Yep. And it will be always. And what really annoys me, it means that every status box right now creates a new instance of badge state because you create it here and you export it from every status box. This is...
Well, to be fair, status box is used. Let me check before I speak too soon. It's
it's already used.
Yep. Signs of relief.
It's not a relief. It's like it's
despair.
the moment.
Sign of despair.
It's when you think a code base is bad enough, but then you see it's even worse than you thought.
Come on. Should we update the status bar component to use subscriptions?
This would be probably the best thing if we can. Is there a subscription for status of the issue? I think it is.
Do you want me to search for bad state?
Are we only doing this for issues right now, for issues list, or for any issuables?
I think it's issuable, isn't it?
Yep. Bad state, it's
in the getters.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, now it's even worse now because we decided to pull this into global state of nodes.
Oh yeah, it's inside nodes as well.
Yep. But I mean, the batch state you're using will never ever cross their ways with nodes because this is different pages. Nodes are instantiated only on the issue or MR, right? And not on the list.
Okay.
So at least we don't have the headache with this. But honestly, I would probably try to move. I mean, it's still badge state.
So there were a couple of alternatives that we discussed previously, but we kind of went full circle. So where you found elsewhere, didn't you, Marco, that we could just go back to the old school and use GL badge, but then we've got to compute the right icon and some other stuff. So
yeah, I lost it, but basically it was using the GL badge. maybe it's in here, the GL badge component, and deciding the icon and the class.
But there's a lot of duplicate code then, so you've got that option. Then you've got the option of us, I guess, making yet another status badge component that is just a bit more dumb and a bit more boring and does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little bit in limbo at the moment. I don't know what I would suggest as a sort of like not wanting this MR to get too out of control either.
Like, probably don't take this as a suggestion, but I can bring an example. It is probably not a good example of engineering culture, but it is what it is. So for work items, we are re-implementing nodes almost from scratch. We're using some basic components, but we are re-implementing them because current nodes are not reusable, and trying to refactor them will probably break the issues, make us fight with create stage. So maybe, just maybe, we could survive the duplication, create kind of a status box, I don't know, call it status box in a list or whatever, like list status box, like issuable list status box, something else, like a smaller component with less scope, because from what I can see, what you need is very simple component without any badge state, without any things like that. You don't want to update it from the list, at least for now, from what I can tell. You only update it from the parent, so you can just pass the badge state and rely on the prop, skipping all the watchers, all the observables, and all the pain that we have. Because in your case, it's very static component. It's only presentational. There is no logic in it. So
exactly,
it is some duplication, but I think in this particular case, it will be for good. So we leave this observable monster on their own.
Yeah, I guess the burden of creating the new component is probably almost equal to the burden of modifying this component as we've done and then writing specs for it.
No, it
and also we don't know what we break, because unfortunately this area is poorly covered by the feature specs that half of them are skipped and quarantined. So I would probably recommend creating a new one. This is not, again, the great suggestion, because then we end up with 5 status boxes. But comparing to nodes, you're very safe. We have design management nodes, we have work item nodes, we have alert management nodes, we'll have some other nodes too. But that's the price. Like, we're not willing to pay the price of the full refactoring, especially if there is a risk of breaking the logic on the go. And there is a risk of breaking logic, because we set up a watcher, and you never know how this watcher will react in the future on the issue page.
Yeah. Toggle state, toggle issue state.
Yeah, see, it happens whenever someone basically changes the issue state and they update the badge state.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, let's not.
It's a way of sort of mutating the component from somewhere else, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
Again, I feel guilty because I brought the observable only for one case in the code base, a very specific case. And you bring something and you hope people won't use the same thing, but they do.
You created a precedent.
Yeah, it's like, this is the way we got like global pandemics. So I was like, okay, this looks like a cool thing. Can I use it in my code? So
you best spend the afternoon writing a lint to lint against its use. Then I suppose.
And no worries, we will soon remove it to the migration, because we don't want to leave observables in the wild. They will be moved to composables on Vue 3, and we'll isolate them properly. So it's like short-lived one. So I still think the session was useful. So at least we learned something about how data reacts to props, right? And the bug loading state.
Absolutely.
That's definitely true. And I also got to know that I have to create a new component. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. I guess you probably have to go back to work, right, Marco?
Yeah, basically.
Thanks so much for jumping on at no notice, Natalia. Much appreciated.
No problem.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
And Marco, I guess we'll see you on the flip side.
Yes, absolutely. Once I create the component.
Awesome. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.
Bye. Thanks again. Bye-bye.